Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be talking about Magikeys. Magikeys are a deck of ritual, fusion, Xyz, and synchro monsters that revolve around normal monsters and attributes. It's a giant Kingdom Hearts reference and it's a lot of fun if you've ever seen any other Magikey content from Master Duel or somewhere else. The skill is Master of Rites. Can be used each time your life points decrease by 1,000. Return one card from your hand to the deck, and then either add a random ritual monster from your deck to your hand, or a random ritual spell from your deck to your hand. This skill can be used twice per duel. Now, it's important to note that Magikey Mafti is not treated as a ritual spell. It doesn't have the icon on it. So you will always get advanced ritual art from the skill, and then the monster, if you choose, you'll usually get your Betos Buster, but sometimes you'll get the Garrus Glasser. It's random. For the main deck, we have Magikey Mech Mortar Garrus Glasser. This is a level 8 Earth Machine monster. You can ritual summon this card with Magikey Mafti. It gains 300 attack for each different attribute in your graveyard, so as long as you have at least 2 attributes in your graveyard by using the spell to ritual 2 different level 4s that are different attributes, it has 2,600 attack points, and it will just keep going up. Both effects once per turn. When your opponent activates the effect of a monster with the same attribute as a monster in the graveyard, if at least 2 attributes were used to ritual summon this card, so you can't just ARA and send Blue Eyes to make this, you have to use 2 monsters, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. If this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Magikey monster from your deck to your hand. That's a pretty nice effect. It will allow you to continue recovering next turn. Magikey Mech Musket Betos Buster. This is the biggest card of the deck. This card is a tuner monster. It's 2,000 attack, 2,200 defense. You can ritual summon this card with Magikey Mafti. If this card is ritual summoned, you can add one Magikey card from your deck to your hand. This will usually be Magikey World, but if you already have Magikey World, you can use it to get one of your other spells or traps or one of your Maftiels. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster that has the same attribute as a normal monster or a Magikey monster in your graveyard, you can place any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck. If you do, negate the effects of that opponent's monster until the end of the turn, then draw the same number of cards placed under the deck. So this will allow you to beat over Yubel, because Yubel's ability to prevent itself from being destroyed and its ability to deal damage to prevent itself from taking damage, those are effects of that monster, which are negated by Betos Buster. So you're out to Yubel right here. This is a good card. You will ritual summon it at least once every game. Draw one of your best cards, whichever one you need, and then keep extending. You can use it to Synchro, you can use it to Xyz, it's perfect. Magnificent Magikey Maftiel. This is a Fiend Tuner monster. It's light, and it cannot be used as the material for a Synchro or Xyz summon except for the Synchro or Xyz summon of a Magikey monster. If you control a Magikey monster, you can reveal this card in your hand, and you can normal summon one Magikey monster during your main phase this turn, in addition to your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. When this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 4 or lower monster or one level 4 or lower Magikey monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position. Okay, so typically what you will do is you will use one of your normal monsters to ritual summon your Betos Buster, get Magikey World, draw the Maftiel from the Magikey World. Since you control a Magikey monster, you can then activate Maftiel's effect, get an additional normal summon to bring back the other monster, and then Synchro into your Transform Mine and use its effect to set Magikey unlocking. That's your typical turn 1 play. Maftiel is fantastic. Definitely a great card for you to use. I'm only playing it at 2 because it's so searchable. You can definitely play this card at 3. It's definitely worth having every single game. I just don't feel like the deck needs 3 of them to guarantee that they have them because there's so much search. 3 Manju with the 10,000 hands. When this card is normal flip summon, you can add one ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand. This could be Senju with the 10,000 hands. Normally, you're going to use this to get a ritual monster, but sometimes you need a ritual spell. Again, you can't search Mafti with this. You can only search the ARA, but the ARA is really good to have. And so if you have Manju, definitely recommend it. If you have Senju, Senju will work just fine. Shiny Black Sea Squatter. I'm playing this card because I want to make sure I have an Earth target for dealing with primarily Blackluster Soldier. I'm expecting Blackluster Soldier will continue to be a threat moving forward, and I already have all the lights and darks that I need. I could potentially see this swapping out to Blazing Enpachi if Salamangreat becomes more of a threat. So far, I haven't seen it. 2 copies of Clavkiss, the Magikey Sky Blaster. This is a normal monster. It's dark. Dark is not really an attribute we care too much about, but the reason we play Clavkiss is because we can search it off of the Magikey world, and having the ability to search a normal monster off of Magikey world is valuable. So it's better than the other normal monsters you could run. I only run 2 of it because I don't feel like I need 3 of it, but I don't think that 1 is the correct answer either. Magikey World, definitely play this card at 3 if you have it. The reason I delayed this video so long is because I only got 2. Still digging through the 3rd box. I really need this card at 3, but so far it's been fine at 2. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Magikey monster from your deck to your hand. The first time each non-token normal monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect each turn. It is not destroyed. That's a really nice effect if, for example, you're playing this your normal monster into a trap like Needle Sealing. During your main phase, you can add 1 Magikey Mafty from your deck to your hand, then place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. All of these effects are once per turn. You get this card off of Betos Buster, you activate it, you draw whichever monster you need, then you can use the second part of the card to draw your Mafty if you don't have another way to extend. So this card just lets you fix your hand so efficiently. It is a fantastic card, and you should definitely expect that you will play this card every single game. So I'm running 2 copies of it. I'm not running Terraforming because I want to make sure that I'm running Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. Even if you have only 1 copy of this card, I still think Draco Berserker is the best use of your Limit 1, but I could be wrong. Maybe Draco Berserker isn't that needed, and if it's not, you can definitely play the Terraforming instead. Advanced Ritual Lore, this can be used to ritual summon any ritual monster. You must also send normal monsters from your deck to the graveyard whose total level is equal to the level of that ritual monster. This card is fantastic. It allows you to basically summon your Betos Buster without a card in your hand to tribute. That makes the deck a lot more flexible. It kind of compensates for the fact that we only have 4 cards in our hand instead of 5, and it allows you to get your searches off much more frequently. This card is available in a structure deck. It's in the Magician's Chaos structure deck, so you don't need to worry about digging through an old box for this card. I highly recommend this card. It's going to be good moving forward. I think that once we get Chaos Max in particular, people are going to really want to play this card at 3, so this isn't a bad investment if you don't already have the card, and if you want to play Magikeys, definitely get it. 1 copy of Cosmic Cyclone. If you have 3 Magikey worlds, this is the card I would cut for it. Magikey Battle. Target 1 normal monster, 1 Magikey monster, or 1 Magikey Mafty in your graveyard and shuffle it into the deck. Then, since this is a quick play spell, if you activated this card in response to your opponent's card or effect activation, normal monsters and Magikey monsters you control are unaffected by that opponent's card effect. So if your opponent activates a card like, for example, Crackdown, you can just respond to Crackdown by playing Magikey Battle. As long as you have a card in your graveyard to shuffle, then all of your monsters are unaffected by that effect. And it doesn't target, so it just affects your entire board. So this means that you can, protect your entire board from Needle Sealing if you need to, but it also means that you can use it on cards. You can use it and your opponent can't just remove the targets that you choose. It's every Magikey monster, so nice. Magikey Mafty, this is the heart and soul of our deck. Fusion summon 1 Magikey fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, or ritual summon 1 Magikey ritual monster from your hand by attributing monsters whose total levels equal or exceed its level. If you control a normal monster, you can also send 1 normal monster from your deck or to the graveyard as material for tribute. This card is insane. It will allow you to use cards from your deck. It will allow you to fusion summon if you need to. It will allow you to instantly start ritual summoning. It's incredibly searchable, and you're going to play it, 3 or 4 times in a single turn. It's fantastic. It is important to note how the card works from a gameplay perspective. When you activate Magikey Mafty, it is going to pop up and ask you if you would like to fusion summon. If you want to ritual summon, you have to say no. If you do want to fusion summon, you just say yes. So that's how it determines which one you want. It doesn't say, do you want to fusion or ritual summon? It just asks, do you want to fusion? That's what's written on the card first. That's very confusing. It has thrown me off several times. I have made Andra Bime in situations where I wanted to ritual summon just because I clicked yes, because, it's my own card. Why would I not click yes, right? It's unintuitive, in my opinion, but you will get used to it. Last card in the main deck, Magikey Unlocking. When your opponent activates a spell or trap while you control a Magikey Ritual monster or a Magikey monster special summon for the extra deck, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then you can declare one attribute, and if you do that, for the rest of the turn, all face-up monsters your opponent controls become that attribute. That effect is okay. It's mostly for enabling your Ogre, or your Garrus Blaster, but primarily you want the Spell and Trap negate. This is the best card that you can set off of your Transform Mine, because your Transform Mine will set a Magikey spell from your deck to the field. And getting a free negate is very nice. Okay, for the extra deck, we have Magikey Dragon Ogre. This is a Dragon Fusion monster that requires a Magikey effect monster and a normal monster. When this card is fusion summoned, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects. Once per turn, you can target one normal monster or one Magikey monster in your graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls with that monster's attribute, and once per turn, if an opponent's monster with the same attribute as a monster in your graveyard was destroyed by battle or card effect, if this card was fusion summoned using 2 different attributes as material, you could draw a card. The first effect is designed to enable the rest of the card. Because your opponent cannot respond to you fusion summoning, you immediately get priority. Then you can immediately activate Ogre's effect. Your opponent can try and stop it, but they can't just remove Ogre to prevent its effect from happening. So, for example, I summon Ogre and I activate its effect. My opponent can then Crystal Wing Synchro Drag, and that effect will not resolve. But they don't have the option to simply, oh, my opponent summoned Ogre, I will then compulse it. You could still compulse after the fact, but the pop is still going to go off. That's what the first effect is for. Drawing a card is really good. It's important to note that this has to use 2 different attributes. So the deck that I have is designed to do that. The only thing you have to watch out for is you should not fusion summon using exactly Bedos Buster and Sky Blaster. Those 2 cards are both dark. So that's basically the only situation you're going to find yourself in where you could potentially mess up your Ogre trigger. Don't do that. Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, Synchro 8. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish it, and if it attacks and destroys a monster, you get to absorb its attack points and attack again. This card cannot be made with Maftiel. So the only way that you can make Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, Cyber/Harpy Lady, and Void Ogre Dragon is by using Magikey Mech Muster Bedos Buster as the tuner monster. That's fine, because Maftiel does not have any sort of stipulation on what you do with the monster you revive from the graveyard. So you can make your Bedos Buster, you can activate Magikey World, you can then get your Maftiel out, revive your normal monster. Then you can just use the Bedos Buster as the Synchro monster and leave your Maftiel on the field. Or you can get Magikey Mafti and use it to fusion summon. That's another option. So just don't use Maftiel as your tuner monster unless you specifically want to make Transform Mina. Cyber Slash, this is a good card. It's a win monster. If it's while it's synchro summon, you can target a monster that's on the field and bounce it back anytime a spell or trap is activated once per turn. Pretty good. Void Ogre Dragon, 3000 attack, 3000 defense. Once per turn, if you have no cards in your hand, your opponent activates a spell or trap, you can negate it. Fantastic. Magikey Fiend Transform Mine. This is our fire monster. Requires a Magikey tuner and 1 or more non-tuner normal monsters. So you can't use this, you can't make this with Manji of the 10,000 Hands. This card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. You can only use each of the following effects of Magikey Fiend Transform Mine once per turn. If you control this card that was synchro summoned using at least 2 attributes of monsters, you can set 1 Magikey spell or trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap zone. So this will usually be your Magikey Unlocking. You can also set Magikey Battle. If you set either one of these cards, you cannot activate them the turn that they are set, because they are a quick play spell and a trap card. You can also set your Magikey Mafti, and if you do that, then you can activate it this turn. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster with the same attribute as a monster in your graveyard, you can destroy that monster. That's really good. Obviously, if your opponent, like, say they special summon a Blue Eyes alternative White Dragon. Okay, well, you don't want your monsters to be destroyed. Activate Transform Mina's effect. Since you have a light monster in your graveyard, Blue Eyes alternative is destroyed before your opponent can activate its effect. Fantastic. Number 106, Giant Hand. It's a decent Xyz option. I think that it's worth having in your extra deck just to make sure that you can answer all threats. Abyss Dweller, this will beat your Orcus deck and, make sure that you can stand up against Blackluster Soldier as well. Lastly, we have Magikey Spirit Vipartu. 2 level 4s. If this card is Exceed Summon, you can detach 1 material from this card to add 1 level 4 or higher normal monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And if this card has a normal monster as material, it gains this effect. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster with the same attribute as a normal monster or a Magikey monster in your graveyard, you can attach 1 material from this card. Your opponent must set that monster to the graveyard. A couple of things that are important to note about this. This outs Dingirsu, because you're not destroying it. This outs Wise Man, because it's not destruction by a card effect, it's just sending it to the graveyard. And most importantly, this card outs Neos Kluger, and it doesn't summon Wise Man. And you might think, why is that? You're sending a card to the graveyard by a card effect. Well, it's the wording of the card, which the first time this happened to me, I was playing Yubel, and it infuriated me. So it says, you can attach 1 material from this card. Your opponent must send that monster to the graveyard. So the Partu's effect does not affect the monster. It affects the player. So the player must send the monster to the graveyard. I don't know if this means that the Partu's ability works on monsters that are unaffected by card effects, but I think it actually does, because it's affecting the player. The player is the one who is now required to send that card to the graveyard. It's the weirdest wording I've ever seen, but it's fantastic because it outs Kluger. That's why it was released in the same box as Kluger. So there you go. That's the strategy. Basically, you want to have some good interruption going first, and if you're going second, you want to blow up the board and kill your opponent. Let's take a look at the replay. As long as my channel exists, I will continue to bully Blue Eyes players. Alright, we are going first. We are going to activate our Magikey Maftea, and we are going to tribute our Shiny Black Sea Swatter from our hand to Ritual Summon Magikey Mech Betos Buster in defense position. That allows us to immediately grab our Magikey World. Then we can activate Magikey World, and we get to add a Magikey monster from our deck to our hand, which will be our Magnificent Magikey Maftea. Now, we're playing against Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes special summons a lot of light monsters, so my intention here is to get Transformine out using Maftea as the tuner monster so that we can make sure that we have a light monster in our graveyard. Maftea, revive the Shiny Black Sea, Synchro into the Transformine in defense position. Set a card, Transformine effect, since I control it, and it was synchro summoned using 2 attributes. I set a Magikey monster spell trap, so I'll set my Magikey unlocking. Pass turn. Alright. Opponent is going to set 1 card and then activate the skill. Send the Abyss alternative from hand to graveyard. Mill Abyss Dragon. Then he activates Monster Reborn. We are going to not let that happen. Magikey unlocking. Negate the Monster Reborn. Our opponent then normal summons Whitestone of Ancient and activates Sage with Eyes of Blue. Sends the Whitestone of Ancient from the field to the graveyard, and to special summon the Dragon Spirit of White. Dragon Spirit of White's effect is going to target the Cosmic Cyclone and try and banish it. We will respond by activating Cosmic Cyclone to banish his face-down card. So we got rid of the Floodgate Trap Hole. It is now battle, and the Dragon Spirit of White is going to attack the Betos Buster and destroy it. We can't activate Betos Buster's effect to negate its effects because we don't have any cards in our hand to return to the bottom of our deck. Whitestone of Ancient's effect, it's going to special summon the Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon from the deck. We have not activated Transformine's effect this turn. This is the end phase, so this is the best time to use it, so we're going to go ahead and pop the Abyss Dragon. He draws Chaos Form, and that doesn't matter. Our turn. Okay, we top decked Maftea, that's perfect, so we normal summon Maftea, and we will use its effect to revive our Shiny Black Sea. However, we cannot synchro summon because we already synchro summoned our Transformine, and this card cannot be used as the synchro material for any synchro monster except a Magikey monster. So we bring back our Shiny Black Sea, and then we have to Xyz into our part 2. Now, I don't have enough damage on the board to kill my opponent, so I don't want to just go into the battle phase here. I will activate part 2's ability. I will detach 1 material from this card to draw a normal monster. Now, I could potentially kill my opponent if I could somehow summon my Under Beam Egg, but Magikey World has an effect where if I draw Mafti, I have to return a card from my hand to the deck. That's not going to let me then fusion summon, so I need some other option. The good news is I have my Transformine, which allows me to set Mafti without returning a card from my hand to the field. Activate that, fuse the Viparte and the Clavkiss Skyblaster into our Andrabime. Andrabime effect, destroy all light monsters on the opponent's field. We get to draw a card, switch to attack position, attack the opponent directly, and that's the game. There you go. Monster destruction on both turns, spell and trap negate, easy Xyzes, easy rituals. It's a great deck. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have you all with me.